In this video, I'll be using the TI-84 Plus Silver Edition virtual calculator to access some math menus to do some computations on fractions, functions, calculus, and a few other things. Now, if you don't have these shortcuts available on your calculator, you could access these through the catalog. It takes a little bit longer to access them, though. So let's look quickly at this. Click the alpha key and then F1 in green there. The first category is fractions. So we do a few here. Number 1. Then enter the numerator. Right arrow here, go to the denominator, then 70. Hit enter, and it simplifies it or reduces it. Clear it. Again, alpha, and then F1. Number 2. This is for mixed numbers. Enter the whole number 5, and then the fraction. 3. Over, and then the denominator is 4. Hit enter, and it gives me the mixed number as an improper fraction, 23/4. Now I could go back the other way. So if I want to convert this back to a mixed number, I could hit alpha and hit number 3. Hit enter. It puts it back 5 3/4. Clear. The center say 0.73. And then alpha, again the menu. And then number 4 converts it from fraction to decimal and vice versa. So if I hit 4 here, I get it. So it is a decimal, so it gives it to me as a fraction. If I do it again, hit 4 again, gives it to me back as a decimal. Clear this. Now alpha, let's go to F2. First one is absolute values, so hit enter. And of course, this is pretty straightforward. Enter any number you want. Absolute value of -5 is a +5. Clear. Alpha, again, same menu. Number 2 is a summation symbol. So you enter whatever you want there. Pick any variable. I'm going to pick x here. And I'm going to go from x = 1 to say 100. And then to the right. And then you can enter any function there. I'm just going to put an x. You can put x squared or 2x minus 5, whatever you want to put in the parentheses. And I need to put my limits here. So this is going to go from x = 1 to x = 100. So basically I'm putting a 1 and then a 2 and then a 3. So all it's doing is adding the whole numbers from 1 to 100. So 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 all the way up to 100. Hit enter. 5050. Pretty straightforward. Alpha, again F2. Let's go to the third one. This is for derivative. So if you're not taking calculus or anything, this won't mean anything to you, but just go through the process here. So I want the derivative with respect to x. Put an x there of, say, x to the 3rd power. So we're computing the derivative of x to the 3rd, and then we want the value of that derivative. That's what that x equals is for. Say at x = 2. So if I hit enter, this is going to take the derivative of x to the 3rd, which is actually 3x squared, and then it's going to replace the x by 2 and give me the value. So if I hit enter, it's actually 12. It gives me 12.000001. That's because of the formula that was set up for this, but it's actually 12. You can run that out to 12. Clear it. Let's go again to that one, number 2. Now we're going to do number 4. So hit 4. And this is an integral. So it wants limits on this. So I'm going to put a 0 there. And this is going to go from 0 to 2. We can make it whatever we want. And the variable, again, we can put anything in there. It could be a polynomial. It could be a trinomial, monomial, whatever. I'm just going to put an x here. And then I'm using the variable x, so then the last thing I'm going to write there is integral here with respect to x. So I hit enter, and I get 2. Now, again, if you're not taking calculus, this doesn't mean anything to you, but just in case, the function that I put in there was x, or y equal x. So the graph of y equal x is this line right here through the origin. So the limits of that integral from 0 to 2. So it's 0 to 2. And because it's x, when x is 2, the y is 2. So it's this point. So basically what the integral is finding, that the calculation we did, is finding the area bounded by this line. Well, actually, by this, I can just say this triangle here, formed by this line, this vertical line here, and the x-axis, it's this area right here. So obviously we know that the area of a triangle is the base times the height. So this is 2 here. This is 2 here. So the base is 2. The altitude or height is 2. And it's 1/2 the product of the base and the height. So 2 times 2 is 4 divided by, or multiplied by 1/2 is 2. So the area is 2 square units. Now in this case, we don't really need that notation because it forms a perfect triangle. But let's suppose you had something like this. Say it was a curve and you wanted to find this area. And then you wanted it from 0 to say this is 2. Now we don't have a formula for that. So you could use that notation, the integral. Okay, so let's clear this. And then the last one, number 5, is computing the log of any number to any base. So let's say we want the use base 2, and the number is 32. So we want the log of 32 to base 2. So basically we're saying 2 to what power will give me 32. Well, for this one, you should need a calculator if you know your basic logs. That's going to be 5. I guess 2 to the 5th is 32. But if you have, say, this were 3, it'd be different. So let's go back. Let's say the base is 3, 32. The log of 32 to base 3 is what number? Well, again, here it's not going to be the exact answer, so if we hit enter, then it's going to be 3.15 and so on. So in other words, if I take 3 to this power right here, I get 32. Let's clear this. Now let's go to another shortcut, alpha, and let's go to number 3. Now this one is for matrices. First one allows you to enter the dimension, first 2 the dimensions. So let's say it has 2 rows, 2 columns, and then we go to OK, or hit enter. There it is. So then you can enter the components of this matrix. This is a 2 by 2 matrix, 2 rows, 2 columns. So let's enter a 1, 2, 3 for that entry, and then the last entry for the second row will be 4. So we just enter the matrix 1, 2, 3, 4. Obviously this one here, if you look here under math, you have matrix there. So there's a whole menu there for matrices. These are just shortcuts. Now suppose I wanted to take the inverse of this matrix. All I had to do is use the little caret I'd put a -1 there. Hit enter. And this is the inverse. Multiplicative inverse. Now I can do this. See other places to get those items that we're looking at. If I go to math and see there's fraction, there's decimal, so if I just enter, it converts the components of that matrix to fractions, so hit enter. So it tells me that in fractional form, the matrix has components -2, 1, 3/2, and -1/2. And like I said, you can go to the actual menu over here. This is just some shortcuts to get to some of these items. Let's clear that. Now let's go to alpha 4. So here we have y1, y2, and so on. So let's hit enter, give me y1. So this allows you to evaluate a function that you have entered in the y equals here. So let's look at y equals. See, I have y1 is equal to x squared plus 5. X squared plus 5. So if I take this function and say I want to evaluate it at 3. Hit enter. I get 14. Remember the function I had here was x squared plus 5. So 3 squared is 9 plus 5 is 14. So that allows you to evaluate functions, and you can if you go to the y equals, you can go ahead and put a bunch of them. Whatever you want, y2 or y3. It could be a polynomial, and then maybe they want you to evaluate the polynomial. Well, you could do it that way. Now, if I look at the graph, that's what the graph looks like. So if I go to second calculate, number 1 is value. So it's another way to do the same thing. Enter a 3 right there, and it gives me the value at function at 3. There it is, 14. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.